Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Erin Lee here. I'm so excited to get into this. We are going to talk about awareness for this week. Awareness is everything. Awareness is it's just key. It's the first step to transformation. I've been a life coach and business strategist for over 30 years. I absolutely love it. I love helping people get to that next chapter, in the next chapter, get to that next level in life and help you become focused, fearless, and excited about your life as opposed to feeling stuck in self-doubt and overwhelm and all that kind of low vibe stuff. So let's talk about awareness, right? So here we go. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. It's so cool. I love this. I love this topic. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Awareness is the first and most powerful step to transformation. All right. So we're going to get into the first talking point, which is why awareness creates choice. And I love that word choice. I love that word. So until you see the pattern, it runs your life on autopilot, right? If you're not aware that you're making certain decisions or that you're behaving in a certain way, if you're not aware of it, you're just going to keep that pattern running in the subconscious mind, right? Below the conscious. So you don't even know that you're doing it. You're not aware of it. So the pattern it just goes unbroken and it's not serving you. And you can tell what's going on based on your results, right? So until you see it, you can't do anything about it. So that's huge. Awareness interrupts the cycle, giving you the ability to choose differently. So awareness breaks the cycle. And then you have the choice to just, okay, that option seems better, or that option seems better. And you start to be able to make choices, better decisions based on what you are now aware of. All right. And you can't control everything, but you can control your response once you're aware. So it gives you that sense of control, that sense of making decisions from a place of clarity rather than chaos. So that's the first talking point. Super excited. So the second talking point is awareness dissolves denial. And so many people are in denial. Not me. That's not going to happen to me. Or no, that didn't happen to me. Or I'm not experiencing that. And some people are very, very good at it. They really believe their own denial, but until you actually release the denial and you become aware of the fact that you're actually in denial, nothing changes. And if nothing changes. So denial feels safe, but keeps you stuck in the same pain. Awareness shines light on the hidden areas you've been avoiding. The truth may sting at first, but it's the gateway to freedom. Don't you love these words like choice, freedom, options? It's so good because what happens? You're in control, right? But nothing changes if you don't become aware of the fact that something needs to change. All right. So that's the second talking point. And the third talking point for this week is each time you notice and name what's really happening, you strengthen your confidence. And we've talked about this in the past. Self image is super important. So, how we see ourselves, which is self image, will determine how we feel about ourselves, which is self confidence. And if you don't become aware of the things that are creating the obstacles in your life, then you're going to lack the full confidence that you could have, right? That next degree of confidence, because you're going to say, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep meeting the same person with a different face if you're dating? Or why do I keep going to a different job or a different, with the same outcome? How come my money results are no different? Because you haven't become aware of the pattern to be able to break it down. You're in denial that there's a problem to begin with. And then it's just now you're trying to build self trust. And until you become aware of the fact that, it's not there, that each time you notice and name what's really happening, you strengthen your confidence, right? Because that's awareness, building self trust. Self trust is huge. I want you to sit back for a second and ask yourself, how much do you trust yourself? Like, seriously, get real with yourself. Trust is everything, right? So, trust in yourself, trust in a higher power, trust in the process. Do you trust the process, or are you so attached to that outcome? Like we have the vision. We talked about this again in the weeks before. You know where you're at, you know where you want to go, and we need to trust the process to get there. We've talked about taking the action. Very, very important. Every day, take action, massive action, aligned action in the direction of that North Star. But do you have the trust? that from where you are to where you want to go, you'll get there with the support of the higher power. I say God, with the support of God, with the support of the universe, you will get there. Or again, are you so attached to the outcome that the self doubt is there as opposed to the self trust? So it's just something to ask yourself. Self honesty creates alignment. Your inner and outer worlds match. That's also called integrity and good character, right? So self honesty creates alignment. Your inner and outer worlds match. Trust grows when you stop lying to yourself and start acting on awareness. That's a big deal. How many people do you know that they literally are lying to themselves and that because they do not want to deal with the truth, or with their situation or their results, they'd rather stay in denial. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. I don't have to do anything about this. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And they're going to keep getting the same results because they think it's just going to go away. But they don't have to do anything. It's just going to go away. And sometimes that happens. But more often than not, we have to actually take the action to change the pattern, to reprogram the subconscious mind to be able to get different results. And it all starts with awareness. Okay. So when I had the cancer and then a couple of years ago when I was diagnosed with the congestive heart failure, I was, I was aware of the fact that I had medical issues and I'm always really good at conquering them and getting over them. And because I understand the law of assumption and the law of vibration, which leads to the law of attraction, and all these different things regarding manifesting and visualizing. But I also understand that I need to be aware of why is this showing up in my life? So we don't go through life unscathed. Like I just manifest all good things all day long, like a fairy. I don't do anything like, what? Erin has everything that she wants. No, this is the school of earth. Things are going to happen to us. And then, well, let me rephrase that. Things are always happening for us. They don't happen to us, they happen for us. Some of the things that are happening for us, like in my circumstances regarding the illnesses, like the cancer and the congestive heart failure, when they showed up, I asked myself, why? Like, what am I supposed to learn from this? And the most recent one with the congestive heart failure, I learned because I became aware of the fact all these years later that I didn't do grief. I would feel grief for a second and then switch it into anger. And then anger was my driver. I would go and I would just take care of things. I would get things done, from that place, which was not healthy. So my heart was not relieving the grief. And we live we talked about this also in a dual universe where we have to experience the good and the grief, both sides of that pole. We need to experience everything. We can't just experience half of gravity, right? That doesn't work. We don't experience just half of electricity. That doesn't work. It's the same thing with, being in this law of duality, the polar universe, up, down, in, out, good, bad, the good feelings and the grief. I didn't do grief. I'd feel it and go, oh, it's not good. That doesn't feel good. I'm going to push it down, squash it down. That's denial, pushing it down. And then I'll go into anger because that's easier, very comfortable in that and getting things done. Yeah, I never hurt anybody. I would just go educate people on how to get over cancer, and go up and speak with doctors about how they can include this meditation, visualization, affirmations, and other things in with their practices to help cancer patients. But I was coming from a place of anger in that it wasn't there. And I'm going to help put it there to help the cancer patients. So I learned recently that because I didn't do grief, of course, my heart was the first thing to be affected. So when I got the shot, it was all that grief for a lifetime stored there because I didn't express it. And if we don't express it, believe me, the body will get sick. That's why they say if you're not at ease, the body goes into dis-ease because of the mind-body connection. So you always want to be in that peaceful state, even when things are complicated and things are not going as you planned. You want to be in that calm state, making decisions from a place of clarity, from a place of awareness, and from a place of calm, rather than the chaos and the denial and the anger and all that other stuff. And again, regarding the subconscious mind, what's impressed in our subconscious mind has got to express itself in the outer world. It's law. It's law. And if it's suppressed and oppressed and repressed, then the cells carry it. And if it's not healthy, it goes from people being at ease to people having dis-ease. So I want you to express it. Get it out there, and better out than in, like Shrek used to say, when my kids were little. For the exercise for this week, one of my clients regarding awareness, I have one of my clients who I absolutely love, coaching her for years. And she had an issue with speaking, right? And she was working in this corporate firm. She was young and she was self conscious. So she didn't like her dialect and she was just uncomfortable in her own skin. So she wouldn't speak up at meetings. But she was brilliant and is. She's brilliant. And she wanted to grow within the company. So I helped her get really comfortable with the fact that everybody is different. And we went through quite some time, many years of everybody had to sound the same. You had to be perfect in how you said this, and this. Nobody was allowed to be a little different or have their own personality. And that was stifling. I want everybody listening. I want you to use your voice, not the voice that somebody else wants you to use, your voice. I helped my client get really comfortable in her own skin with who she was, what she was doing, and her voice. And not only did she overcome the meetings, it was in-person meetings, it was Zoom meetings, and she started to speak up little by little. And then she was on like a fast path to vice president. And then she ended up getting a job with another bigger company and doing absolutely amazing. And I'm incredibly proud of her. And now she's leading meetings, as vice president of a big corporation. And that's what she does all day long. She's speaking and leading meetings. She just had to get comfortable with herself first. Again, going back to self-image, right? She just had to get comfortable with how she saw herself. And then when you get comfortable with how you see yourself, you get comfortable with how you feel about yourself, the confidence, and then you're able to express yourself so much better, that much more. And again, it all comes back to awareness. So the exercise for you for this week is journal. What am I pretending not to see? Okay. That's a big deal. What am I pretending not to see? And then I want you to become aware of it. And from that place, you can grow. Okay. So I look forward to meeting with you again next week with next week's video. And until then, hit subscribe, hit like if you enjoyed the video. And you can always reach out to me at scheduleerin.com. We can talk about your vision, your goals, what you feel is holding you back, how to overcome it, and get to that next chapter in life. All right. So have a magnificent week. And always remember, live onward and upward.